and people get frightened. Roads are fizzed, railway lines are twisted, and bridges are destroyed. In cities, ground waves disrupt underground services and start fires. Rivers change their courses, fissures are opened up in the ground, which may be cause spring. Okay, another definition of earthquake is the sudden and tangential movements inside the earth surface produce tremors in the rocks. Such sudden movements beneath the surface are known as earthquakes. The one more definition of the earthquake is the sudden and tangential movements inside the earth surface produce the tremors in the rocks. Such sudden movements beneath the earth surface are known as earthquakes. An earthquake, also known as a quake or timbalur, is the shaking of the surface of the earth resulting from a sudden release of energy in the earth's lithosphere that creates seismic waves. It is very different with earthquakes. The solid land shakes, surface objects are destroyed in few seconds. The Herodotus, Pliny, and many other philosophers and historians mentioned earthquake occurrences and destructiveness. The earliest recording of earthquakes dates back as early as 2500 years ago. Actually, the earth is made up of a solid inner core and a molten outer core, and the thick and mostly solid mantle, which occupies approximately 84% of the Earth's total volume. The comparatively thin crust, which varies between 5 to 50 kilometers in thickness. In addition to tectonic earthquakes, seismologists have classified in three more earthquake types. The first one is volcanic, second one is collapse, third one is explosion. And the first one is volcanic. Earthquakes that occur in conjunction with volcanic activity. And second one is collapse. Smaller scale earthquakes that result from the subterranean collapse of caverns or mines. Second one is collapse. Smaller scale earthquakes that result from the subterranean collapses of caverns or mines. And third one is explosion. The explosion earthquakes caused by underground explosions of nuclear or chemical devices. And the explosion earthquakes caused by underground explosions of nuclear or chemical devices. And next one is recording of earthquakes. The first instrument made was able to record only the fact that there had been an earthquake and did not furnish information regarding its magnitude or velocity. The instrument called seismoscope, which was invented in 136 AD by Chinese. The instrument called seismoscope, which was invented in 136 AD by Chinese. In principle, a seismograph consists of a heavy mass suspended like a horizontal pendulum, pivoted against a massive support which is firmly attached to the ground so that it shakes with the vibration of the ground. Working principle. What is the working principle of earthquake is a small mirror attached to the weight reflects a beam of light onto a sheet of photographic paper wrapped around a cylindrical drum, which rotates on a long screw. While rotating, the drum carries the paper along at right angles to the beam of light. The vibration is thus recorded continuously. A seismograph record is called seismogram. The exact time of the beginning and ending of the shock and the intensity of the shock can be deducted from the record. A seismograph record is called seismogram. The exact time of the beginning and ending of the shock and the intensity of the shock can be deduced from the record. The science of determining the size and character of earthquake is called seismology. The science of determining the size and character of earthquake is called seismology. Next one, the detailed record of an earthquake is made on an instrument called seismograph, which was invented and first used in Italy in 1841. And the detailed record on earthquake is made on an instrument called seismograph, which was invented and first used in Italy in 1841. And next one, the record of an earthquake shock is called seismogram. The record of an earthquake shock is called seismogram. What is the waves of earthquakes? The earthquakes waves, when earthquakes occur, there is a release of energy in the form of plastic waves. These waves generated during sudden crustal disturbances beneath the earth's surface are called seismic waves. These are four types of the seismic waves. First one is longitudinal wave, second one is shear wave, third one is relay wave, the fourth one is love wave, and first one is longitudinal waves. The longitudinal waves consist of alternating pulses of compression and refraction acting along the direction in which the waves travel, known as P waves. Second one is shear waves. The shear waves create oscillations at right angles to the direction of wave travel. The shear waves are also known as S waves. And third one is relay waves. The relay waves, the particles are set into motion in circles lying in vertical planes. And fourth one is love waves. Love waves make particles oscillate along the line in horizontal plane at right angles to the direction of wave travel. Love waves and relay waves are known as surface waves. Love waves and relay waves are known as surface waves or L waves. Next one is P waves. The P waves travel with greater velocity than the S waves. The P waves and S waves are together known as body waves, whereas L waves are called surface waves. The P waves travel with the greater velocity than S waves. P waves and S waves are together known as body waves, whereas L waves are called surface waves. Among P, S, L waves, P waves are the fastest come the S waves and the L waves, last of all. And P waves can travel through solids and liquids, whereas S waves can travel only through solids but are obstructed by liquids. And next one, what is the intensity of earthquake? The intensity of earthquakes, it is measured by the effect of an earthquake on a seismograph. The first seismograph was introduced by the Italian seismologist Rossi and Forel, and therefore the intensity scale is known as Rossi-Forel scale. Okay, the first seismograph was introduced by the Italian seismologists Rossi and Forel, and therefore the intensity scale is known as Rossi-Forel scale. The latest scale used to measure the intensity of the earthquake was given by Richter and is known as Richter scale. All the recent earthquakes recorded have been measured on Richter scale. Next one, classification of earthquakes. The earthquakes are classified on the basis of depth of the focus. The earthquakes are classified on the basis of the depth of the focus. What is the focus? The focus of the earthquake means the exact place of disturbance beneath the Earth's surface. Focus is also called as hypocenter. And next one is the vertical projection of focus point onto the surface of the Earth is called epicenter. Hypocenter and epicenter. Focus of the earthquakes means that the exact place of disturbance beneath the Earth's surface. This is called focus. Focus is also called as hypocenter. The vertical projection of focus point onto the surface of the Earth is called as epicenter. No earthquake has been recorded whose focus is deeper than 700 kilometers. All earthquakes which originate at a depth of more than 300 kilometers or else focus is deeper than 300 kilometers are called deep focus earthquakes. If the focus in between 70 to 300 kilometers, such earthquakes are called intermediate focus earthquakes. Actually, 300 kilometers are called deep focus earthquakes. In the focus in between 70 to 300 kilometers, such earthquakes are called intermediate focus earthquake. And next one, earthquakes with focus at a depth of less than 70 kilometers are known as shallow focus earthquake. Shallow focus earthquake, intermediate focus earthquake, and deep focus earthquake. Okay, less than 70 kilometers earthquake is called shallow focus earthquake, and 70 to 300 meters earthquake is called kilometers earthquake is called intermediate focus earthquake, and greater than deeper level of 300 kilometers earthquake is called as deep focus earthquake. Okay, and majority of the earthquake fall under this category. Okay, next one, the causes of earthquakes. The earthquakes originate due to various causes. These are in the order of importance: faulting, volcanism, landslides, and collapse of cavern roof, etc. The vast majority of earthquakes originate within 16 kilometers of the surface and may be due to cause acting at much greater depths. And the earthquakes are directly associated with earth movements along faults. The tectonic plates that make up the earth crust are moving constantly. As the edges of these plates slide against each other in fault zones, friction can slow them down, leading to the buildup of pressure over long periods of time. When the force of movement finally overcomes the friction, sections of the crust suddenly break or become displaced, releasing the pent up pressure in the form of seismic waves. This is naturally occurring earthquakes, sometimes referred as to a tectonic earthquake. According to this theory, the sudden shifting and shocks will occur along a fault. The earthquakes are due to structural disturbances, which are termed as tectonic earthquakes. The tectonic earthquakes are the results of tectonic movements. The earthquakes are also caused by volcanoes, the movements of magmas and gases within the earth crust may result in earth tremors. Next one, submarine earthquakes. The earthquakes which occur under the seawater are called submarine earthquakes. Known as earthquakes are distributed along two major belts, namely circum-Pacific ring of fire and second chain extends over Indonesia, Andaman Nicobar Islands, and Burma. Okay, earthquakes are distributed along two major belts, namely circum-Pacific ring of fire and second chain extends over Indonesia, Andaman Nicobar Islands, and Burma. Okay, this is the completely about the earthquakes, classification of earthquakes and causes of earthquakes, and recording of earthquakes and earthquake waves. Okay, this is the fifth unit. And next one, next one is volcanoes. Sixth unit, volcanoes. Anybody idea about volcano? What is volcano? Anybody? Volcano. Okay. A volcano is a vent or fissure in the earth crust through which hot lava and volcanic gases are thrown out. Volcanic eruptions may be either explosive or quiet. Okay. In term, volcano is derived from the name Vulcan, the Roman god applied to and to some of the volcanoes of the Lipari Island north of society. Actually, the name volcano is generally applied to the surface from which develops around a central vent which may be fissure through which hot incandescent magmatic materials are continuously or internationally ejected. As the solid materials accumulate around the vent of conduct, they build up a cone which increases in size until a huge volcanic mountain is formed. A cone so constructed is called a volcano, which were formed small hill to highest peaks like Cotopaxi in Ecuador have the distance of being the highest volcano 6,380 meters. Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Fiji, and Mount Mayon are examples of such perfect conical shape. The Hawaii Islands are volcanoes that reach a height of more than 4,200 meters above sea level, and they built on the ocean floor of the Pacific, where the depth is more than 4,200 to 5,400 meters. Not all volcanoes are active at present, and some of them have become extinct like that. Mr. Hood is high mountain builds as a volcano that is still active. Every well-developed volcanic cone has near its top volcano crater a kind of funnel-shaped depression out of which volcanic material are thrown out up during explosive eruptions. A circular depression found at the top of volcano cone is called crater. A circular depression found at the top of volcanic cone is called crater. A greatly enlarged crater is called caldera. A greatly enlarged crater is called caldera. Next one. The molten matter erupted at the surface is thus relatively impure a gases and volatiles and then is called lava to distinguish it from original magma. In volcanic eruption, not only the eruption of hot gases and molten lavas, but also vast quantities of fragmental materials often produced by the explosion of rapidly liberated gases. Such materials are collectively known as pyroclastics. In volcanic eruption, not only the eruption of hot gases and molten lavas, but also vast quantities of fragmental materials, often produced by the explosion of rapidly liberated gases. Such material collectively known as pyroclastics. Lava contained from the finest particles to masses of scoria and volcanic bombs in considerable size. Next one is volcanic products. What is volcanic products? The products of volcanic eruption consist of gases, rock fragments of different sizes, and finally the lavas of different composition. Stream and clouds were formed by the different gases. Stream and clouds were formed by the different gases like CO2, carbon dioxide, and smaller proportions of HCOS and Cl, chlorine. And the pyroclastic materials that are blown into the air by the explosive activity of volcanoes and shower down at various distances from the cone, very much inside, from fine volcanic dust and ash to big volcanic bombs. These materials are classified according to size and shape. The pieces larger than 32 mm in a diameter are called blocks if ejected as solid and angular fragments. The pieces larger than 32 mm in diameter are called blocks if ejected as solid and angular fragments. Second one, bombs if ejected as clots of molten lava and hence somewhat roundish or ellipsoidal. Bombs if ejected as clots of molten lava and somewhat roundish or ellipsoidal. The lapilli are cinders which are between 32 mm and 4 mm diameter. The lapilli are cinders which are between 32 mm and 4 mm diameter. And ash which are between 4 mm and 1 by 4 mm and still finer material is called volcanic dust. The bombs, lapilli or cinders and most of the ash fall near the volcanic vent and thus help build an edifice round it called volcanic cone. The bombs, lapilli or cinders and most of the ash fall near the volcanic vent and thus help build an edifice round it called the volcanic cone. Next one, lavas. In volcanoes, the liquid rock materials that comes out the vent is called lava. In volcanoes, the liquid rock materials that come out of the vent is called lava. As the magma releases out lava, it cools on the surface, darkens and crushes over. In surface, consist of a blocks with sharp points. Such lavas are called block lavas. The block lava, other lava flows harden with smooth surfaces which have curious ropey or curved or corroded forms. They are called ropey lavas in Hawaiian Island. The ropey type flows over the seafloor or otherwise beneath the chilling cover of water. It consolidates with a structure like that of jumbled heap of pillows, appropriately called pillow lava. This type of pillow lava is common in the submarine lavas associated with geosynclinal sediments. The mobility of molten lava depends upon its composition. Silica-rich lavas are usually stiff and viscous and congeal as thick tongue before they have traveled far. The chemical composition of the magma determines the nature of the resulting rock, whether it is light colored lava, rhyolite, or black basalt, or intermediate character as andesite. The chemical composition of the magma determines the nature of the resulting rock, whether it is light colored lava. Light colored lava is called as rhyolite, or the black color is a basalt, and the intermediate character as andesite. These all are the igneous rocks. And next one, volcanic eruption and cones. The eruption of a volcano is often preceded by earthquake and by loud ramblings like thunder, which may continue or scale during the course of eruption. The volcanic eruption are broadly categorized into two types. First one is central eruption. Second one is fissure eruption. The majority of the present day volcanoes belong to the central type, but during certain periods of geological time, the fissure type eruptions have poured lava. The volcanoes with the familiar cone and crater structure are said to be the central type because the volcanic activity is centralized around a pipe-like conduit. Volcanoes with the familiar cone and crater structure are said to be the central type because the volcanic activity is centralized around pipe-like conduit. Next one, what are the types of volcanoes? There are three types of the volcanoes. The first one is shield volcano. The second one is cinder cones. The third one is composite cones. First one is shield volcano. When highly fluidal lava is extracted, the volcano takes the shape of broad, slightly domed structure called shield volcano. The shield volcanoes are built primarily of basaltic. Examples as the Mauna Loa in the Hawaii Islands. Next one, cinder cones. As the name suggests, cinders are built up of ejected rock fragments because unconsolidated pyroclastic material has high angle of repose between 30 and 40 degrees. These volcanoes have the steepest slopes. And third one is composite cones or stratovolcanoes. Third one, these volcanoes consist of alternating layers of lava flows and pyroclastic materials. The scared mountain of Japan, the magnificent Fujima, towering 2,700 meters above the surrounding country. The fissure eruptions are even though volcanic eruption from a central vent are the most familiar by for the largest amounts of volcanic materials are extracted from the cracks in earth crust called fissures. Next one, what is a volcanic activity? The main volcanologists have characterized by the phase of activity of the volcanoes as Hawaiian, Columbian, Vulcanian, Vesuvian, Plinian, and Pelian. Okay, Hawaiian type. First one is Hawaiian type. This is the middleist phase of activity exemplified by many volcanoes in the Hawaiian island, and hence the name of Hawaiian type. Next one is Strombolian. When less mobile lava is exposed to air in a crater, the gases escape more sporadically with moderate explosive, which may be almost continuous. Next one, volcanic type. This is the phase of activity exemplified by volcano in Lipari Islands. Its lava is more viscous and pasty and quickly crushed over solidly between successive eruptions. Next one is visual type. This is the paroxysmal extension of Strombolian and Vulcanian types. The new and characteristic features belong the extremely violent explosion of magma, which has become highly changed with gases during a long interval of mild activity. Next one is plenian type. The plenian type of the volcanoes, the most violent Vesuvian type eruptions, sometimes culminate in a rushing gas which rises to a height of several miles and then spread out into a expanding cloud of globular masses of gas and vapor. Last one is Pelian type. The Pelian phase is the most violently explosive of all. Its eruption clouds are denser than even those of Volcanian. Next one is submarine volcanoes. Violent submarine volcanoes eruptions have been observed in the volcanic belt of Aleutian Islands and in the South Central Pacific Ocean area. The mud volcanoes are the mud volcanoes gases released out of the surface may carry within them particles of sand, clay, which are deposited at the vent, and as the process continues, a small cone is built up. And last one is what is the causes of volcanism? The causes of volcanism is the main important causes of volcanism are movement of molten rock in the mantle caused by thermal convection currents coupled with gravitational effects of changes on the Earth's surface. And the radioactive substances inside the Earth keep generating a lot of heat through decomposition and chemical reactions. As a result, the material is the Earth interior is in constant flux. And this is completely what is volcano, classification of volcano, what is volcanic products, and what is the volcanic eruption and cones, and types of volcanoes, and what is volcanic activity and causes of volcanism. And this is the last unit, completely 6 units. Okay. Any doubts? Hello.
Sir, crater and caldera once again explain, sir.
Hello. Crater.
Hello.
Ah,
Yes, sir.
crater caldera. Okay. A circular depression found at the top of volcano. The top of volcano, actually the volcano is vent or fissure type. The vent or fissure type of the earth crust through which hot lava and volcanic gases are thrown out. This is called as volcano. Maybe volcanic eruption are either explosive or quiet. This type of volcano is exactly a circular depression found at the top of volcano. The top of the volcanic cone is called crater, and a greatly enlarged crater is called caldera. A circular depression found at the top of volcanic cone is called crater, and a greatly enlarged crater is called caldera. And next,
What is the definition of volcanoes?
what is the definition of volcano? Okay, a volcano is a vent or fissure in the earth crust through which hot lava and volcanic gases are thrown out. Volcanic eruption may be either explosive or quiet. Volcano is a vent or fissure. The perfect definition is a volcano is a vent or fissure on the earth crust. Next, what is the vent and what is the fissure? In volcano, the magma rises through a chimney like opening is called vent. Okay. Then any doubts? Hello. All of you okay?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Parimala, Hemalatha, Roja. Okay. Thank you.